In today's video, I will be taking you with me through my journey as I play through the original Rayman that is bundled with Rayman Forever. The experience is blind, nostalgic, and as an unexpected addition to the video, manages to put malware onto my computer, so I'll be talking about the install process a little bit before the gameplay. A small spoiler, Rayman is considered an infamously difficult game. I did not know that before playing. I just assumed the weak little baby version of me gave up since I would likely have been around 5 years old at the time. I was wrong, so very wrong. I was just smarter back then, smart enough to know when to quit. I've lost that quality in my old age, so I set out to finish this game no matter what. Hopefully not too many of our collective squirrel brains have jumped off the video yet for taking too long. Let's start talking about the install. So to play this and record footage, we got this version called Rayman Forever off of GOG since it was the most accessible way to play Rayman. It was on sale for $1.49, putting my total YouTube profit at negative $1.49. Better than I expected it would be at this point if I'm being honest. Anyway, according to the Rayman Wiki, it should be the same as the original North American version with some music missing. Should be fine. So from our start screen here, we can tell that this game is old school. I can practically hear the dial-up noises. This is a good time to point out that getting Rayman Forever does not only give us Rayman, but Rayman Designer and Rayman by his fans. It was at this point in my journey that I suddenly remembered I'm not a PC gamer, and nostalgia would have to wait. Not only did I manage to mess up my settings, making the game temporarily unplayable, I quickly learned that the lack of music was more bothersome than I expected. Do you hear the soundtrack? Yeah, this one's one of my favorites. It's called Silence. Jesus, I thought we said less, not none. Crispy critters, it just starts after about 10 seconds, huh? Screw it, we're already this far, we might as well mod the music in. Otherwise, I'll be wondering after every second of silence if it's supposed to be like that or not. Fortunately, I was not the first person to fall down this rabbit hole. The first Google search helps me find something called the Rayman control panel, and I install it. It was an easy process, so I got to give a proper thank you to the Rayman community for making this such an easy mod. It genuinely said, hey, you should fix the soundtrack, buddy, we got you, is one button. Now this is where I get curious. Just for a casual glance, I check the other installed Rayman games, and I see this message here for recommended installs for Rayman Designer. Some versions of Rayman Designer, such as the one bundled in Rayman Forever, has some of its files infected with old malware. Although it does not appear harmful, or even active, GOG has even confirmed there is no danger. It can still be helpful to replace the files with the non-infected versions to avoid antivirus programs from removing the game files. Guys, can you tell me how often you buy games from a legitimate website and it just casually has a malware virus on it and you're told that it's fine and you shouldn't worry about it? Seriously, I want to know other games that pulled this. Looking into it, the malware itself is called a CIH Chernobyl virus, which sounds to me like it would infect a person. It's a virus that would infect Microsoft Windows 9X, meaning it's not active on modern systems. What it would do is infect system drives, and in some cases, even destroy the system BIOS. It is estimated to have cost at least $40 million in damages. Yeah, get this time bomb off my computer, I'll be taking no chances. Thank you again, Rayman community, you bunch of glowbox-loving gigachads. Upon starting the game, the memories begin to flood back into me like a tsunami. Except the memories are like that one picture where you can't identify anything. I genuinely have no idea what's going on in this game. I'm not given so much as an opening cutscene to tell me anything either. And I find that odd. I could have sworn there was at least a little bit of a story, even if I never paid attention to it. The first level, which you've seen a little bit of earlier, starts you with only two abilities, walking and jumping. We're as basic as we can be here. Even the average fedora tip and my lady praising fool can do more physical activity than Rayman here. I guess that's not all his abilities. You can make this expression for some reason. What's it for? Mocking enemies? Me? My audience on YouTube 30 years in the future? I don't know. We've entered the land of casual oddities and there's no going back. Of course, this means that the enemies are just as strange. In the first environment alone, we have angry tooth crepes, hunters with hammer launchers, plum-headed safari explorers, and a guest starring diva from Toe Jam and Earl. At the end of the first level, we find Batilla, who does not exactly look like the half-nude fairy I remember from the modern titles. Which design do you prefer? I like the new one because they somehow managed to slap a Hey Arnold head on her and still make her attractive. But I also appreciate the floating hands and the overall circus vibes of the original. Anyway, she gives you upgrades in this game, so she's our Dr. Light. Punching here, grabbing ledges later, generally everything. You can do jack without this girl, so kiss up to her. And without a proper story, she's the only thing important to me in this game as far as I'm concerned. During the second level, we meet a mosquito boss, and after a proper whoopin', we befriend him. He was my favorite as a kid. I just wanted this guy to go around with us forever. But no, he helps us out for one level, and then we'll be back to fighting him again. Then the sidekick position will be filled by Glowbox in future titles. Glowbox! I have nothing against Glowbox. Glowbox! But I want justice for our giant mosquito. I just want him to be playable. Why can't I tell my brain which character to hyperfixate on? After a tragically short encounter with our mosquito, we got our first path split. Initially, I decided to take the upper path to find, just as you would expect, a naked caveman in the rain. In return for giving him his loincloth, he gives you his magic seeds.
Hey, Rayman! Take this magic seed!
The naked factor here brings too many questions to the brain. It reminds me of this old magazine ad that I didn't understand as a kid. I wish I didn't understand it now. No arms, no legs, huge features. So at this level you can plant flowers on the ground now, and the platforming isn't hard. It's one enemy that they put here with the instant death trap of the screen chasing you. The enemies sometimes die in one hit, sometimes multiple, and I'm doing an authentic experience playthrough here, so I won't be looking up how anything works unless I genuinely feel like I can't without going on. Damage being inconsistent on enemies is a recurring theme throughout the playthrough. I thought at one point if you threw your fist past the enemy and it hit them on the way back to you that it would do more damage, but for some reason that's not consistent either. What that means for us now is that I get stuck on this guy. Trying to defeat him or just walk past him, it doesn't seem to work. I noticed power-ups carried between levels earlier, so I decided to try the other levels first and carry things over to this one. Something worth noting is just how long and explorable the levels are. It's to the point where I'm occasionally not sure where to go, but it's not so bad to where I feel like I'm lost. It's more like, am I on the right path or am I discovering a secret? This never changes throughout the playthrough. This area may be the first level that I play that I start to notice the cracks that hide this game's true colors. Although I'm not struggling quite yet, I discover a secret that rewards me with a life but punishes me when I turn around. Keep these things in mind for later. When I return to the vertical scrolling stage, my plan works. The carried over abilities make me able to finish the area without issue. More cracks begin to show as I reach the exit sign, revealing a life that would tempt one to run backwards to their demise from the rising water. Soon after this, we're in a section where the mosquito boss from before begins to chase us, holding a giant fruit. He's still our friend though, right? Stop, Mr. Mosquito! I can't eat all of that! Oh no, he doesn't understand! The dopey little moron's killing us with kindness! This, like the vertical auto-scrolling segment, is unforgiving. One mistake, and it's an instant loss. This game has a lot of chase segments like this, and each is only worse than the last. Persevere and make it to the second boss arena where we get to punch the mosquito yet again. It hurts me more than it hurts him. But after the chase segment, he leaves me vulnerable, at 0 lives and 1 health. It's in this next moment that I fear gaming over. I haven't lost all my lives yet. I'm under the impression that if I die here, I'll be starting the level over. With such a strong motivator and the fact that the boss is easy compared to the levels, I get through the entirety of the second mosquito boss fight on 1 health, 0 lives, first attempt. We're not doing the level again. With this victory, I feel both relief and accomplishment, and it gets me the new ability to grab rings. Having seen the ability, I think this is as far as I got when I was young. A lot farther than I would have thought. However, as the dust begins to settle, and I watch as the silly Rayman pretends to drive a car, I begin to worry. Anxiety begins to gnaw at me as I have a sudden realization. These levels are the perfect difficulty for me. It's far too early for that. The following levels that await me can surely only be hell.
Violet here. I have been informed that these next few stages were too boring to write about individually, so instead, we'll be jumping around a little more from here on. Please enjoy the change in format. If you've been enjoying the video so far, be sure to share it, like it, and subscribe it to find out who's Larry. Now, back to the Raymans.
The theme of this game and where the difficulty comes from seems to be punishment and reward for everything. As a quick example, remember how I carried over my power-ups earlier to the rising water level to get through it? Well, everything carries over, including health. Being ignorant to this fact, I walk into the next stage injured and frail, hitting one of the first obstacles. My average run as Tainted Lost lasts longer than that. This was the next day too, so when you save the game, it remembers to be primed and ready to decimate you. We've already talked about how secrets like to trigger like traps. There are so many secrets in this game, and for the most part, they are never worth going for if you just want to finish the game. Why would I want to attempt to get a life, when it will spawn a trap likely to kill me soon after? Why go for a collectible? It's not like getting a cage rewards me with anything at all. Traps start to be more consistent in this game around when you make it to the mountain levels. By consistent, I mean near constant. You can't so much as walk down a hallway without meteors spawning around you. It's like the Knuckles stages in Sonic Adventure 2, where you're just minding your own business and a meteor decides to fall from the sky and snipe you. Except in that game, that was bad RNG. In this game, it's planned and deliberate. This of course means if you played the game before, you would fare much better. But for a first time playthrough, good luck. My favorite trap would probably have to be this long jump here. The developers measured out just about where the average player would land and put a single spike there. That's just outright mean. Not a pit of spikes. Not a wall if you jump too far. We just need the one to mess with people. Since we're talking about jumping, it's one of the things that makes the game start to become difficult to control. When I entered this first level with sliding, I thought to myself, hey, they have had a lot of gimmicks for one area so far. One ice level won't be so bad. Nope. Slippery surfaces are everywhere in this game, and it's one of the worst things. If you jump, you just keep sliding in the air. It feels awful. Why did they have to pick this one mechanic to be everywhere? This game has so many cool and fun gimmick levels it throws at you only once, like the Rocket Maraca area, or the spinning platform area, or even the dark area level. No, forget that one. That sucked.
Joe? Can I have more fireflies?
Point is, most ideas are used once and then forgotten. There are some areas in this game where the game suffers from difficulty just because it's a new idea. The best example of this is probably in the mountain during the flying level. At one point, we got Rayman's trademark helicopter hair, letting you hover briefly after each jump. And soon after getting that ability, we were given a gimmick stage that's something like Flappy Bird. We can fly infinitely in this stage, bouncing up a little with each button pressed to get through a spiked maze. Fair enough. It's the immediate falling area that's the problem. They put you in this falling section, and you need to cut the ropes in the background of his hair. It's actually quite easy, but the first time you're here, you would never know what to do. I feel like the average person would lose several lives before they ever figured it out. At no point do I feel like the game is bad, though. The game just screams to me that the playtesters were the developers. That's just my assumption, though, and that's enough about difficulty. Let's talk about me being stupid for a second and making things harder on myself than they needed to be. In the mountain environment, I got to a stage with frequent crawl spaces with spikes. So one would guess, just crawl through them, right? Well, of course I tried to do that, but pressing down to crouch and moving diagonal doesn't seem to work. This makes me assume that I can't crawl. After all, in the first areas I couldn't punch or ledge grab, some basic stuff, so I assume Batilla needs to give me the crawling ability still. I think of it like you were playing a Metroid game and were forced to go through a lava area to get the Varia suit and be immune to heat damage in the same area, right? We all know the idea, right, fellow nerds? Anyway, I find out if I walk into the crawl space I do in fact get hurt, but the iframes help me finish walking through them. The game, that has been outright stingy with healing power-ups, even has them frequently after each crawl space, so this seems by design to me. You just walk through, heal up after. Seems like what you're supposed to do. Even when I'm at the end of the stage, there's a trap that makes me crouch for a second, making the iframes last just not quite long enough. So then I finished the level without crawling, just tanking everything, making poor Rayman scrape his eyes and mouth across spike-covered ceilings for no reason at all. Because as it turns out, you can crawl. I found out I could already crawl because of this version of the game doesn't have this victory jingle. And as I look up somebody's playthrough to quickly show my wife the jingle I keep nostalgically making with my mouth like a buffoon, the guy happens to crawl for no reason during the first level of the game. Oh, so I was wrong about him being able to just walk and jump in the first area. What's next? Are you gonna tell me Rayman can climb in that level too? As it turns out, crawling is done by holding down and pressing the jump button. I wish I could say, who would ever think to do that? But I have already outed myself as a person who plays Mega Man. That's literally how you slide in that game. I have no excuses. I don't know if I should be ashamed for being so foolish or proud that I can just beat the level anyway. With that joyful little recollection out of the way, let's talk about the next areas, and what is by far the worst part of the game. There is somebody out there only watching this to see my reaction to this one particular part, and don't worry, my friend, we're almost to her.
Look, it's the Rayman.
Rayman.
You're beautiful. Bring her back.
The next level is surprisingly easy. It rewards plenty of lives, doesn't have as many instant death traps, and generally is overall fun and favorable. I swear this game has two level designers, one for fun and one to make you look dumb. The ease of the level lulls you into a false sense of security, to make a punishing boss come out and attack you in the form of pirates. This is the first boss in the game that brings the lack of understanding aspect that the levels have and punishes you with it. First, she has two minions fight you, and thankfully I quickly learned that you can spam attack the first one or this may have taken much longer. The next one, I don't ever quite figure out. He throws bombs and kicks at you, and sometimes when I hit him, he forces a point of damage on me. Defeating these two brings out this one. She throws knives at you, and you have to punch her in the face. Overall, not too bad. As I defeated her, I took damage as she went down, but fortunately I had enough health to spare. Looking back on it, thinking this was hard, Oh, how young and naive you were, Larry. Suffering will begin soon. The next few areas are difficult, and with the rough condition the boss left me in, I am given a game over and am out of continues at this point. While this would end a playthrough in 1995, I just end up looking the 99 life cheat code, so that I can beat the game. After all, I just wanted to finish it, and this would still be a more authentic experience than using save states. Skipping forward a little bit, when we come to the next boss, we are immediately slapped in the back of the head with a washing machine. What did I call this chapter again? Oh. This boss fight here is a true representation of everything that is wrong in this game placed into one spot. This she-beast is called Space Mama. For starters, she has attack patterns you are forced to learn because you already need to be ready and willing to move towards the single safe spot on the screen before doing anything else. Additionally, those attack patterns are inconsistent, in particular, her very first one. Sometimes at the very beginning of the fight, she will not phase shift until she takes 2 damage, 3 damage, or even 4 damage. It's just whatever she feels like in the moment. If she decides 4, unless you got extremely lucky and she decided to take damage frequently this round, you will be taking your first hit. Now, did you catch that? Did I just say, decide to take damage? Yeah, that's what I said. Hurting her requires punching her in the face, and damage is inconsistent like it is with other enemies. Sometimes you can hurt her, and other times, despite force-feeding her knuckle sandwiches, she will not take a hit. Combine this with the extremely long phases of dodging that she can't be damaged during, you are in for a long, tedious boss fight. I was never one to like a fight that's only difficult because of how long it is, and this fight took me over an hour, because of multiple long patterns where she can't be damaged, the game deciding if I should be allowed to hurt her or not, and generally just stupid stuff that feels like BS. Why in God's name did they not give me a 5 health power up here like the other boss fights? I've beaten multiple Souls titles, including Elden Ring 3 times, I beat Cuphead, I finished Metroid Dread in Dread mode, but despite all my experiences, this fat space bitch comes out, decides she doesn't need to listen to the rules of her own game or any game for that matter, and completely destroys me. Maybe it's because I wasn't in the mindset for boss killing for this game, maybe I just needed to get a good or learn some tech that guarantees hits more, or maybe, just maybe, this fight is poorly designed dumpster trash that should have never made it into the final product of this game. The worst part is, if she didn't decide to armor at times, she would probably be as easy as the rest of the bosses have been. How easy were the other boss fights? When I rewrote the script, they weren't even worth mentioning. The only comfort I have is that she comes into battle in a washing machine, as one do. Now this only brings me comfort because of these little gremlins that terrorize future Rayman games. The rabbits run around stealing washing machines from humans, and somehow they have one that can fly and even time travel. Reminds me a little bit of this one here. Is it a coincidence? Is it nothing? Or a deep cut reference for hardcore fans? I'm choosing to believe the latter, to think that these little morons found her in a back alley and did us all a solid and removed her from our existence. Thank you, rabbits. I completely accept you now if you did that, you minion wannabe freaks of nature.
Excellent!
Excellent!
Let's move on from that hell. Well, I wish we could, but the levels don't calm down from this point either. It will continue to only be bad. There's only a few areas left, but they consist of darkness, strange traps, and evil walrus fish. I think I lose as many lives from this walrus fish knocking Rayman into the water as I did from Space Mama. It's what you expect from this game at this point, and if the little stuff made you angry, you already stopped playing this game back in the Blue Mountains area. After a few more trying stages, we find our next boss, who, by comparison of Space Mama, is not only much easier, but also not worth talking about. Nice. I'm happy to have an easy boss again after all that horrible nonsense. Upon completing that area, you get a little message saying that Mr. Dark has kidnapped Attila, and as previously mentioned, this woman is the only thing I care about in this game. We worship her for letting us have the minor luxuries like punching and running, so let's help her out. Huh? What's this? Where's the next level? So what you're looking at now is going to be a supercut of me going through the game and grabbing every cage that I missed along the way. My mistake is that I never grabbed, or even attempted to look for the cages. Why would you? Why am I doing it now? To unlock the final level and beat this game, you have to 100% it, meaning you have to gather every cage. And if you've ever missed even one cage in a level, you have to do the entirety of that level over again. There was not a single level in this whole game that I got every cage in, so I have to do an entire second playthrough. Of course, I could take the coward's way out and put in a cheat code for the final level, but I don't want to. I could use the video as an excuse, say something like, I wanted to have the viewer experience the game as it was meant to be played. That was the original idea when I started playing this game after all. But now, I think it's just a me thing. I want a complete victory over Rayman. Sorry for not hurrying, Batilla. I need to look up a collectible guide, and I'll be there to suplex Mr. Dark soon. I will suffer, and I will win. So what's it like to replay the game? Surprisingly easy. If you've been listening to some of what I've been saying throughout our playthrough together, you might remember that I alluded to the difficulty in this game comes mostly from understanding it. After you play through it once, you understand it, so replaying it, you're locked in. And in addition to that, most of the hardest sections in the game are removed. A pleasant surprise. When returning to the old levels, any section that had a boss before is gone. Not just the fights themselves, but chase segments as well. These were probably the hardest parts of the game, and you don't have to deal with them again. Most importantly, I won't be doing this. I have not mentally recovered. I'm still thinking of the rabbits torturing her in their weird prison coliseum for odd comfort. The last thing I think that's worth noting, though, is that if I wasn't using the 99 life cheat code, I could be in serious trouble at this point. Any section that had a life pickup before that you grabbed the first time has had the life permanently removed. They were a scarce resource. You could grind 100 orbs, I guess, but any quick way to get lives is out of the window. Sorry I didn't acknowledge getting all the collectibles. I didn't know when those clips would finish. Let me make a more satisfying conclusion to that now. So with all of that said, do I think this makes the game justifiable to force you to 100% it? No, of course not. This is absolutely insane. So many of these collectibles are completely horrible to find. This would be straight trash when it came out if you didn't have the luxury of some type of guide. Of course, no modern game would make such a stupid mistake as making all the casual players get 80 or 90% of all collectibles. Absolutely not. That would just be ridiculous. That's just for weirdos like me. So after all of those, I am rewarded with the final level in the entirely new environment, the Candy Plateau. A final fight in Candyland. Not a lava volcano, not a deadly spike-ridden dark dimension, no. It's the mother-lovin' Candy Plateau. It's not like the other areas had a lot of logical sense to them. I don't really know if this is worth complaining about or not, it just ruins the mood, I guess. This level before the final battle might be my favorite in the entire game, so it was actually worth unlocking. It starts with a slide section, the only part of the level I don't enjoy. You're super glued to a frying pan for some reason and are forced to keep enough of momentum when it's an area you could honestly just walk through. After that gimmick, we find Mr. Dark, who immediately creates an evil Rayman clone that copies your exact movements. This is just like the Cosmic clones from Mario Galaxy. Huh. Rayman had the idea first in '95 and just saved it for one level? What other games do this? Anyway, if you ever touch the clone at any point, both you and the clone are instantly defeated. It's not so bad, and a pretty fun little obstacle. Afterwards, he does the dreaded, hated, awful reverse your control spell. It's actually only left and right that get reversed, so once again, not really that bad. Then there's an auto-running section that you can't stop running in, and with all these rapid-fire ideas coming at me, I'm wondering how this game was so ahead of its time. Of course, you would never know this because it's only in the last level. Completing the auto-running section has Mr. Dark do a diabolical thing to you before the final fight with him. He takes away your ability to punch. Like a true villain, he not only does this, but puts a gold fist power up on a rope and teases you with it, making you feel like a fool. He traps you between two beams of fire and shoots some magical rays at you and gives you a nice Saturday morning villain mocking of "You're doomed, Rayman," as he slowly pushes the fire pillars together. Two of the pink circle creatures called Electoons that we went around saving come in and help us out, dropping us a fist power up and putting out the fire. Are you telling me that I went through the entire game all over again, broke 102 cages that contained 7 Electoons each, and only 2 of these things came to back me up for the final fight and return the favor? Why did I even save all of them? Why couldn't I go here after breaking a single cage? Shouldn't there be 700 of these things mauling the final boss with me? Let's get on with the boss fight. How hard could it be? The remainder of the fight is something of a joke. Mr. Dark has seemingly gathered the parts of the previous bosses and forces you to fight some of their phases again. Unlike most bosses and enemies, you can just spam punch them to get through this pretty quickly, and after defeating the Mosquito Space Bomber combination as Tiny Rayman, you win. No final phase against Mr. Dark himself. As far as I'm aware, he managed to get away. Did we even rescue Batilla? The ending in this version of the game is a single CG Rayman with some of his friends he made along the way, with once again, my favorite soundtrack. It's the Kazoo theme from Monster Hunter. After my unrewarding ending, I will now get to go and live through the experience a third time while I edit the video. There are a lot of version differences in this one that go beyond the ending. If you know of any of the particularly interesting ones, let me know in the comments, but for now, this is what my experience with the original Rayman was. My final thoughts on the game are that despite its flaws, it was a lot of fun to play. It's certainly not for everybody. I would even recommend playing it just until it starts to not feel fun for your skill level. If it seems too difficult for your liking, I read somewhere that people will often play a fan game called Rayman Redemption as a good experience, but I didn't look into it too much. If you enjoyed the video, I haven't made a playthrough style video yet, so tell me what you liked and disliked about it. Since I'm new, the feedback can genuinely be helpful, and if anyone managed to make it this far, don't forget to subscribe and find out who's Larry. It helps out much more than you think.